Hi, I'm Rex Black, President of RBCS. Welcome to the RBCS YouTube channel. Hey, I hope you enjoy all these free resources that are available here. And do us one favor. We need to keep the lights on and we need your help to do that. So, when you need testing and quality related services, training, consulting, expert services, you name it, let us be one of the bidders on that next job. We don't expect to get all of your business, but we'd like to get a chance. Thanks and enjoy the shows.
Welcome to our webinar on the inaugural series, One Key Idea. I'm sharing my webcam. I'm guessing that you guys can perhaps see me. I'm not going to be doing this for long because I think it will distract people, but just wanted to greet you personally and say hello. As you may know, I'm president of RBCS. We are a worldwide training, consulting, and expert services company based in San Antonio, Texas, with clients around the world. For over 20 plus years, we have been providing insight and confidence to our clients by helping them improve their software testing and quality practices. And we can certainly help you too. So hope you let us know if you are looking for training, consulting, or expert services related to testing. I also happen to be the author of 13 books on software testing, 2 of which are coming out this year, and former president of the ISTQB. So we are doing something a little bit different today. We're doing the One Key Idea, where the whole idea of these One Key Idea webinars is, instead of me talking to you about something, I'm going to show you something, and it's going to be something that's going to be, I believe, immediately useful to you. And so today, it's going to be how to do pairwise testing with the axe tool. Not axe like you cut down a tree, but axe like you act a certain way. So so that you're not distracted by me looking the other direction, which I'm about to be doing, I'm going to shut down my webcam. But hi, everybody. Let's see, how do I do that? Stop sharing your webcam. That looks like that's the right button. Okay. So end the show here, and you'll see what. So I think I'm going to end the show. Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's make the slide go away here for the moment. We'll minimize it. It'll come back later with the Q&A session. I'll put the advertisement up as usual with the Q&A session. But for these demos, what I want to do here is go through, as I said, some tools. So let's say, let me set up the problem here. Let's say that you are testing a mobile app, and one of the things that you're hearing is that the connectivity state can have an interesting interaction with the behaviors of your mobile app. This is not a hypothetical thing. I use a mobile app called Podcast Addict to listen to podcasts, and if everything is fine and not changing with respect to connectivity, then the sound and playback is okay. But if anything starts going on from a connectivity point of view, connection drops, connection changes state somehow or another, that causes some static or some jitter, or possibly even a pause and then a restart in the audio playback. So let's say that you're worried about something like that happening to you. And so let me see if I can get the I'm going to get the spotlight up over here. Okay. So I sit down, or you sit down, and you identify various connectivity factors and the options for each factor that might affect your mobile app. So you say, okay, I got an interesting comment here from B saying, I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing that you guys are seeing my screen. Anybody else having video problems right now and not seeing anything? Yeah, okay, everybody sees it. Okay. B, you might just try to drop out and come back on, or refresh. Try to do a refresh. Yeah. Okay, what you should be seeing right now is me pointing at a Windows photo viewer. Oh, let's see the webinar title. What the heck? Here, that's weird. Okay. Let me, no, okay, Taz is seeing it. Some people are seeing the main page. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for the moment, and then I'm going to go back. Okay, now we're going to go back to that. The learning curve associated with the demo effect. It was sure to happen. Okay, so what you should see now is the upper left-hand corner, and in the upper left-hand corner, I'm pointing at the connectivity factors that might affect your mobile app. So you got the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi frequency, Wi-Fi calling turned on or off, your NFC, near field communication, on, off, off, on, or connected, mobile data off or on, mobile connection, the different types of mobile connections that you might have, and then we have the total number of possible combinations here. Wow, I'm still getting people complaining about not seeing things. Okay, for those of you who are not seeing it, I am sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm not getting any indications that there are any sort of problems. So I'm just going to have to continue for those who are seeing it. And if you're having problems, please try to refresh, come back in. Hopefully that solves the issue. Okay, so here I'm going to focus on just doing this for those of us who are not having problems. It's inevitable demo effect thing. Okay, so this is our problem as shown here. Connectivity factors are the options that might affect the mobile app, and there's a fairly limited number of factors and a limited number of options per factor. But if you do the math, what you find is that there are 3,840 possible combinations because you multiply the number of options for each factor together, and that's what you get. So you're not going to do that, are you? Now, something important to point out about this is that these combinations, these different factors are supposedly independent, right? I can change these independently. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. I'm going to revisit the issue of what happens when you're dealing with factors that are not independent in a minute. So let's say I decide I want to focus on testing for pairwise interaction. Now, what is pairwise interaction? Pairwise interaction is where what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if any given combination, say a particular Bluetooth connection option like weak connection on Wi-Fi, excuse me, together with one connection for Bluetooth, if those two settings causes interference with my application. Now, there's a technique using orthogonal arrays to do this, which some of you may have seen me demonstrate before. Let me turn that volume down. That's pretty loud. Actually, just disconnect that. Okay. We're going to use a tool called ACTS, A-C-T-S, which is from the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. And instead of using an orthogonal array, and this is going to make our life a lot easier. So what we're going to do here is fire up the ACTS tool. Okay. And whoops, darn it. Okay. No, This is the axe tool. That's what I want to show you. Okay, and let's get the problem back up here. Okay, so the axe tool is going to help us out by generating the pairwise table for us. And what we'll do is we'll create a new problem here, and this is a new system. And by the way, this tool is it's a free download from the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. So you go to nist.gov and look for the axe tool, and you can find it. And what we'll do is, oh, wait, I know what it's doing. I went to create a new system. And it's popping it up on my main window here, but I've now fixed it. So we're going to have our system name, and we're going to call this Mobile App Connect Test. Okay. So that's what we're going to call it. And then we're going to add some parameters. So we got the first parameter is Bluetooth. And this is what's called an enum, an enumerated type. So in other words, it's a list of factors. Okay, and we type in the value. So Bluetooth off is one value, Bluetooth on is another value, one connection is yet another value, and multi-connection is yet another value. Okay. All right, so we now add that to the table, and then we go and say, okay, Wi-Fi connection. Oh, yeah, that's right. Can't have spaces in that. Wi-Fi connection. That's also an enum. Off is 1. No connection is the next one. Weak connection is the next one, and strong connection is the next one. All right, so we add that to the table, and now we got Wi-Fi. Oops. Every now and then you find yourself in the wrong place here. It's, you saw I just did. So then you get the Wi-Fi frequency. So we got 2.4, 3.6, 4.9, 5, just 5.0, just for completeness sake there. I'm a stickler for those kind of details. So there's a frequency. Now we go Wi-Fi calling. Okay, and that's on or off. Add that to the table. And then we have NFC, and that's going to be off, on, connected. And yes, I see that I made a typo there with Wi-Fi calling. Sorry, can't fix it. It's kind of weird that way. It's not possible to edit them. You'd have to delete it and re-add it, and I don't have time to do that. And then we have mobile data. On and off. Add that to the table. And then finally we have mobile connection. 2G, 2.5G, 3G, 4G. Oops, darn it. This I do have to fix, because you can't, yeah, you can't edit. I don't think you can. Oh, you can. Okay. But I will fix that one just so this doesn't bother you. There was something that you can't edit, and I can't remember what it is. But let's go ahead and fix this guy, because it bothers Dawn, and it'll actually start bothering me too soon enough. Okay, so now we have basically set up the problem here, So we say add system. All right. And now there it is. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build our test configurations here. And again, it's popped this up, this menu up, darn it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here's the options that come up. And now there are various algorithms, which the IPOG is the one that I always use. There are some other ones. You can read the documentation about how they differ. I read it, and it said basically what I got out of it was, you should usually use IPOG unless you're dealing with something really huge, in which case you might use one of the other ones. So let's start off at, say, strength of 1. All right, and I build the test table with a strength of 1. And you see I've got 5 rows here. And basically that corresponds to the number of options for the factor that has the largest number of options, which is the Wi-Fi frequency, which has 5, 2.4, 3.6, 4.9, 5.0, and 5.9. So this is just basic equivalence partitioning. If you do strength 1, it gives you basic equivalence partitioning. Now, you don't really need this tool to do equivalence partitioning, though you could use it if you wanted to. So what if we actually want to start testing pairs? So we go, okay, it's not enough to just test each setting by itself. We want to test to see if combinations of settings are going to create problems. Okay, so what we do now is we go in here and we say, all right, so let's set strength to 2. Now what that means is pairwise combinations, okay? And so I build a table now, and I should get around 20 rows, and I do. I get 21, because the factor with the most options is Wi-Fi frequency. It has 5, and then the second most number of options for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection and mobile connection is 4. So 4 times 5 is 20, but sometimes you get an extra row, but it's close. It's close to the theoretical minimum. Now in this table, I basically have every possible combination of option pairs across every possible pair of factors. So it's Bluetooth with Wi-Fi connection, Bluetooth with Wi-Fi frequency, Bluetooth with Wi-Fi calling, Bluetooth with NFC, Bluetooth with mobile data, Bluetooth with mobile connection, Wi-Fi connection with mobile connection, etc. You get the picture. Now, you're saying, okay, well, why would this be good enough? Why can I do this instead of the 3,800 or so combinations? Well, the reason this is good enough is that there have been studies done that show that most of the time when you're getting compatibility types of problems, the problem either arises from a single option by itself or a pair of options. Now, triples and so forth don't generally create problems. Now, let's say that you are worried about a particular triple, though. You're worried about combinations with the 3 Wi-Fi options: Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi frequency, and Wi-Fi calling. So you go, okay, I want to force more combinations. So then what you do is you go into the relations field, and I go, okay, these guys here, these three Wi-Fi settings, I want to test with the triples of those. I modify the system. Okay. And now notice it says test set out of sync, so that means I need to rebuild. Okay, and I'm going to set now, I say mixed, because it's some cases I'm just testing with one option, and some cases are singleton options, and in some cases I'm testing the triples. So I say build, and it says, okay, now you only have a single relation. Do you want to add more relations. And let's say I don't to start with. That's warning, hey, you're not going to generate all the combinations that you might want. Basically what I was saying is it's not going to generate pairs or any other higher level combinations for any of the factors other than Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi frequency, and Wi-Fi calling. So it generates this table, which has 40 rows in it, which is what you would expect, I believe. 5 times 4 is 20 times 2 is 40. Yep. Now, if we say, okay, yeah, you know, we really should force pairs across all of the other parameters. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go into relations and we're going to say, all right, for all of these guys, I want pairs as well. So now I'm going to say triples of the Wi-Fi ones, and you got to select mixed here or it doesn't work out. Triples of the Wi-Fi options, in other words, all possible combinations of the 3 Wi-Fi settings plus pairs with all the others. And then it builds this. And again, notice 40 rows. So now this is nice because I've got all possible combinations of Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi frequency, and Wi-Fi calling together with all possible pairs of all the other parameters plus the Bluetooth with Wi-Fi with the Wi-Fi parameters and NFC with Wi-Fi parameters, mobile data with the Wi-Fi parameters, and so forth. Okay, so that's the basics of the tool there. Now I want to show you guys one other thing that might be useful to you, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Let's say that you go, you know what? It doesn't really make sense if the Wi-Fi is not connected or if the Wi-Fi is turned off to look at these other possible combinations with the frequencies, because you don't have a connection, so the Wi-Fi frequency just doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix that. We go into constraints, and this is, you got to learn how to type this in. This is a little bit kludgy, but what you do is you type in a constraint, and there's a documentation that comes with this that explains the syntax. But I say, okay, if there's no connection for the Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi connection is off. Oops. It wasn't going to be good. You've gotten to see what happens when there's a syntax error, but that's not what I want to be dealing with right now because we've already had enough of the demo effect. Then what we'll do is we'll just force Wi-Fi frequency to be 2.4, which basically we'll just say, yeah, we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore the Wi-Fi frequency. So we add the constraint. Okay, well that was nice. Okay, so it warned me that I was about to do. B's warning me that I just forgot something else here too. Yep. Okay, so now we add the constraint. Modify the system. Notice again, it's nice. It's warning us, hey, guess what? You're out of sync. So now we're going to rebuild. Remember, you have to select mixed each time because we have the mixed strength. And it warns me again about, hey, I'm going to replace this. And now we're down to 28 combinations because you'll notice that whenever the Wi-Fi connection is no connect or off, instead of getting a bunch of different possible combinations there, we're down to just Wi-Fi calling being on or off in those circumstances because we eliminated the Wi-Fi frequency as a possible variant. Okay, so that is the tool. So I am going to open it up to questions at this point. If people have questions they want to ask, we'll be winding this down shortly. Sorry that we went a little bit over on time. We got kind of bollocksed up with audio and visual problems. So Dawn says, very interesting. Is the setup difficult? No way. The setup is so simple. What you do is you just download it. It's a zip archive. You download it and you unzip it. And then as you saw, I just go in and let's see if we can get that back up. Yeah, you just go in and double click on Axe GUI right here. You see it's highlighted and boom, the thing comes up. It's exceptionally simple. And then there's, as I mentioned, there's documentation right here, this guy, that it's a little, the documentation is not what you would get on a commercial app, but, it'll work. Scott says, does require Java? Yes, it will require Java. That's true. So if you don't have Java already loaded, you will need to load Java. Stephen asks, how much coverage does the demonstrated instance give you? That's a good question. Let's take a look. I see you've used this before. Well, I can go to statistics, and it will say, okay, here's what your coverage looks like. See that? So maximum domain size is 5 because that's one of the options one of the factors had 5 options. Minimum domain size 2, so we had to pair. So it created 28 tests, which across all of the different factors and the options within each factor covered 259 of the combinations. Beth says, this is a nicer user interface than James Bach's all pairs tool that I've used in the past. Yes, and this also allows you to do constraints and establish different strengths of relationships too, which the all pairs tool can't do for you. So this is both free and actually usable and more useful than a orthogonal array because you can handle the constraints and the stronger relationships. Denise asks, do we need to have admin rights to our laptop to run or set up? And what version of Java? You probably need to have admin rights to set up Java, I would guess. I don't know for sure, but I would guess so. What version of Java? I don't know for sure. It's never griped at me to say that I don't have the right version. So I would just download the latest version and run it. It should work. Yeah, Scott just says get the latest. NIST.gov and search for Axe, Don says. Yes, that's right. That's all you got to do. Go to NIST.gov, search for Axe, A-C-T-S, and you can download this. It's completely free, and I've checked with the guy who's running the project, Dr. Richard Kuhn, who's a heck of a nice guy, by the way. So if you have comments or something on it, just send them to him, and he'll, I'm sure, pass them on to his team. But he's a great guy. I asked him, are there any export restrictions? Is there anybody who can't download it? There are no export restrictions, so wherever you are in the world, go and get it. Scott says version 3.0 is the latest version. Yeah, this is 2.9.2 that I'm running here. I haven't thought to upgrade it just because whenever I do demos like this, you got to expect something's going to go wrong, as it did. But this is certainly working for me. But yeah, 3.0 would be the one you would get. Kath asks, what does ACTS, A-C-T-S, stand for? I haven't the slightest idea. Something about combinatorial testing, I would guess, but I'm sure it says. Marie forwarded a link here, which I think might be useful to you guys, so I am going to go ahead and send this to everybody. Thank you, Marie. This is the NIST.gov. This is a comparison report. I'm guessing that this might be where the tool is, or it's giving some insight on it. Okay. Marie knows that what the acronym stands for. Advanced Combinatorial Testing System. Well, Scott thinks it stands for Automated Combinatorial Testing for Software. So, I don't know. Mysteries that you guys can solve. Vasily asks, is it possible to force some value like tilde instead of 2.4 in the previous example? In other words, wanting to make it clear that it's tester's choice, right? So it says, in general, is it possible to make a constraint that says in the case of some option is true, then some factor option doesn't matter? It might be possible to do it. I wasn't able to figure that out. In this particular example, all I was going to do was force it to be 2.4, which basically says don't create 5 different combinations with this Wi-Fi connection and Wi-Fi frequency when the Wi-Fi connection is no connection or off, because it just doesn't make any sense. So I was just going to ignore it. But I'm sure there are ways to diddle around with it to get it to do that. It's very flexible, and the constraint system is really pretty much open-ended. It's a command line type of deal. It's got very extensible Boolean logic to it, so if you can master the Boolean logic, you're good to go. Let's see. Donald says, the only way I've seen to give weighting to any particular value is to just specify it more than once. Have you found a better way? I haven't really played around with it that much, Donald, to try to do that, but there was an interesting concept in there called base values. Let me see if I can try not to blow anything up here when I do this, but I'm going to see if I can get this base values thing up. Parameters. Where the heck was that? Let's edit this and see. Here. Yeah, configure base choices. Something about base choices. It's in the documentation. It talks about those being some sort of preferential kind of thing. Yeah, Donald's saying, you mean base choice, and that is a different combinatorial technique. Well, okay, I didn't read it real closely. It seemed like there was some sort of way of weighting it using the base choices based on the manual. You might give it a read, but I think your technique of I want twice as many of this option as any other would be the right way to go. Just put it in there twice, and you know, it should accept it. Denise says, thank you. I work for the government, and using tools is a nightmare. It will be interesting to see if I can use this tool. Well, given that it comes from a government agency, I would hope that they wouldn't have any problems with that, but I guess you never know. Let's see. Donald says, I was lucky to have found ACTS years ago and have found it to be the best of the 4 other combinatorial tools I have used, in my opinion. It also has great documentation, so I second any endorsements of ACTS there may be. The one thing I have not seen is the ability to include seeds, particular sets of all-way combinations, so that the generated cases will cover the pairs not included in the seeds. Have you found this ability? Donald, it does have the ability to import existing tests. So if you know how to edit the XML file to force particular combinations first, and then that you can do, when you do a build, you can use I think there's an extend feature rather than replace, which would build on top of that. So I think that might do what you're looking to do. I don't know. You'd have to to dig into a little further. Let's see. Scott's got a little further detail here. He says, ACTS is the Automated Combinatorial Testing for Software developed by the Automated Combinatorial Testing for Software group at NIST and the University of Texas at Arlington. Okay, Jody had asked earlier about the website to get the tool. It's, as you see there, nist.gov. All right, let's see. Other questions here that we might have. Okay, I got that one from Donald already. Beth says, thanks very much. I like this format where you walk through a tool. Got to get to work now. Bye. See you, Beth. Oh, and here's Marie has, again, kindly forwarded a link, which I will send to all of you, which is where you can download it. So now you all got the download link. Okay, let's see. So see if we got any other questions here. Looks like there's all this stuff about, hey, what was going on with the darn screen. Very frustrating that that happened. All right, I think that addressed all of the questions. Now, I want to just say one last thing here. This is really useful. This all pairwise stuff, very useful for dealing with combinatorial stuff when there is no way of anticipating interactions. You do not want to use this when there is going to be any interaction between, there's deliberate interaction between the factors. So this is like if you know that 2 factors or 3 factors, 4 factors interact in some sort of mathematical or rule-based way, the pairwise techniques will not find bugs related to improper interaction. They will tend to miss those particular combinations. So, so what you need to do with those kinds of problems is to test using tools or techniques like decision tables, state-based testing, and domain analysis. And interestingly enough, not the next one key idea, but the key idea after that, the next one key idea is going to be about decision tables. So make sure to tune back in then. Now Maria is saying that she tried to download it and she found that you have to send an email to request a copy to Rick Kuhn. I'm going to post that information here from Marie. Thank you for chasing all these things down. Dawn asks, this is good to know. Will the recording be available on rbcs.com? Yes, it'll be on rbcs-us.com. It'll also be out on our YouTube channel as usual. So we'll have that out there. Okay. So having, I believe, addressed the questions and demoed the tool. Thank you all for your attention and for participating in this inaugural version of the One Key Idea. And hope to see you back next time when we're going to talk about code coverage, and or the time after that when we will talk about decision tables. Thanks, and see you next time.